Hi, I'm Kevin Miller, Principal Scientist from General Mills Bell Institute of Health and Nutrition and the current chair of the Whole Grain Initiative's leadership team. So it's my privilege to provide these words to the Assembly on behalf of the Whole Grain Initiative's leadership team. Now, we have so much to be proud of since we last convened in Vienna at the previous Whole Grain Summit. We've created 5 working groups, including the Whole Grain Definitions Working Group, the Health Economics Working Group, the Public-Private Partnerships Working Group, the Grain Sustainability Working Group, and now most recently, the Whole Grain and Food Policy Working Group. So a special thanks go out to each of our chairs, Jan Willem van der Kamp, Jan de Vries, Carolyn Slider, Keegan Ringling, and Gabrielle Massé. Now, our work is not done. With the sunset of the Definitions Working Group, we'll be working to create a Whole Grain Recommendations Working Group. Each of the existing working groups have embraced the theme of this conference by translating the science into action. These groups have accomplished far more than many of us expected possible, and therefore it's important that we take a moment and we briefly celebrate some of these successes. For example, the Whole Grain Definitions Working Group, under the leadership of Jan Willem, have reached consensus and disseminated the definition of whole grain as an ingredient and also whole grain food. Now, these definitions are currently available on the Whole Grain Initiative's website and will soon be published in a peer-reviewed journal. So please watch the website for more details. The Whole Grain Economics Working Group and its members are responsible for 4 independent peer-reviewed studies that evaluate the economic impact of including more whole grains into the diet. Now, these studies include data from the United States, Finland, Australia on endpoints including cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, diabetes, and even gastric cancer. The Public-Private Partnerships Group have secured the recognition of International Whole Grain Day, which will be celebrated on November 16th, which is coming up here very shortly. So we encourage each and every one of you to help us disseminate the whole grain message through either your work or through social media connections. So let us, as a group, increase awareness of whole grain as a primary contributor to a healthy dietary lifestyle. Now, the Food Policy Working Group has recently submitted comments encouraging the inclusion of whole grain as a food group into the Nutri-Score front-of-pack labeling scheme's algorithm. This is an important step in creating recognition of whole grain as a contributor to healthful foods. So in conclusion, we have so much to be proud of as a group, and it's been my honor to collaborate with colleagues from both the public and the private sector as we work to improve public health through the consumption of whole grain. Thank you, and enjoy the conference.